Mike Yard, everybody. One more time for Mike Yard. How you guys feeling? Get some drinks, get comfortable, and then
let's cross his arm the whole fucking time. I'm about to tickle you, bro. I will tickle you. I don't give a fuck. Like, yo, you've been challenging me the whole night, bro. You don't even know. You can't press charges on the tickle. Like, I've already looked into that. So, loosen up, bro. Your nipples are what's going on? Motherfucker's like his nipples are short. I cannot.
You know, because the show is early, sometimes people still come with the corporate energy and they're not ready to enjoy the fun yet. I think they're getting there, right? You drinking, you having a good time?
They were good. Fun.
Cool. All right, man, thank you for being here.
Of course, man.
I can believe that you forgot that you hosted an audition. You know, there's a lot of stuff that happens.
I mean, I do host a lot of auditions,
right?
But I mean, you're pretty good, so I should have remembered you. But maybe I had some really good weed and some edibles.
It did feel like you were high.
I'm always high.
July of last year. Friday.
Yeah, I was probably high. Yeah, if I look at my weed calendar, I was probably high.
What's your weed budget?
Nobody's ever asked me that. I buy an ounce a week. That's like, for me, my guy is cool with me, so sometimes it's 300 if it's really good shit, and then most times it's like 260, 280.
Alright, that's not bad.
Nah, that's not bad. I could afford it with, the $35 I make here every night. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping my weed habit alive.
Is this a weed smoking crowd?
More than that.
No?
Were some of y'all like, wow, is that expensive?
Nah, that's not too bad.
But they don't really smoke weed. Like, I'm not recreational about it.
Right. This is like,
my sanity.
You need weed.
This is truly for
it's
my
like
sanity.
medicinal before it was even medicinal.
Man, listen, once I heard about medicinal, I was like, say what now? I gotta look into that shit.
Yeah.
And that's a good weed, too.
Where's your guy from? Do you use a company or you got a guy?
I got an Egyptian brother.
Egyptian
it sounds like something out of the blacklist, but yeah, I do. My dude is Egyptian. My dude, I just hit him out. He'd be like, yo, meet me on the corner. And then he puts it in a tree, and I drop the money by the car tire, and then we keep it pushing.
Somebody gave me a card where there's a company that they will come to your house and they open up a little suitcase. And
I've seen those guys.
They have everything you want, and it's like they're like, all right, we're gonna be there in 90 minutes, or you're gonna be home. And you're like, all right. I'm like, drugs shouldn't be that corporate. This is
it's very unnerving. That's why I still do put the shit in the tree shit. I'm uncomfortable with corporate drug dealing.
But it's pretty reliable. I've had shrooms from them. I like shrooms.
I've never done shrooms. I only weed, bro.
I think you like shrooms.
See, people keep telling me that, but I'm not into hallucinogens. See, weed doesn't make me hallucinate. It just tones down the shit.
But you don't really hallucinate on mushrooms. It's just like things become more vivid.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was on the road in San Antonio, Texas with this comic, and we were in one of those condos, and this motherfucker took mushrooms. He took it at the club, and the whole time he was like, I don't feel shit. This shit is whack. Then we get back to the condo, and I'm sitting watching TV, and he goes in his room, and then he keeps coming out, going to the kitchen, and the microwave keeps coming on. So I'm like, what the fuck is this dude doing? Like, nobody has to use the microwave. It was like 5 times. Yo, apparently he was going in there heating up his chicken fingers. But he was doing them one at a time. Like, he only felt like he could do one at a time. He was like, this shit's gonna break if I put them all in there. And then he was watching porn, freaking out, because I kept hearing noises, and he was like, yo, this chick's head keep growing when the dude fucks her throat. I was like, yo. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe he had like a different dose. Whenever I do shrooms, no, I'm not microdosing. I do it like normally, but what happens is, like, the slide would just become super interesting. Like, one time I did it and I watched my ceiling light for 4 hours. It just became a whole universe. You see every single part of it, every single color is more clear. That's what I enjoy on shrooms. I don't really hallucinate.
That don't work for me, bro. I just need to fucking just calm down and be like, these niggas is crazy. That's all I need out of drugs. I don't need no coke to be. The first time I was around cocaine, I knew I would never do cocaine. That shit smelled like turpentine. I was like, people are doing this? They're smoking this shit? shit smell like kerosene.
Were you doing it with the right people? Cocaine is better to do with rich people.
No, I wasn't doing it. I've been to jail.
Right. So yeah.
So I robbed robbed a drug dealer.
We definitely gonna get to that. We have a lot to cover. Let's start. First of all, saying that you didn't know Ukraine was real is the most American thing I've fucking ever heard. And I feel like Americans have that privilege because you're America. You don't have. Oh, hold on. Who's from a different country? All right. Most of them.
Please don't be Ukrainian. Maybe that's
most
why your arm was crossed.
Know about other countries. They have to. Because, But you learn in school, but really it's because sports help you learn about other countries.
Yes.
Because in America, you guys watch American sports, but we're soccer fans for the most part, so you know about other countries through sports. Like the Ukraine, they had a player called Andrei Shevchenko who was a beast. Like I knew all those countries. Yeah.
I don't pay attention to soccer, and my father was a huge soccer fan, and I don't. No.
I mean, look, it's not your fault. Okay, so your story starts in the Virgin Islands.
In the Virgin Islands, yes, St. Croix. That's where I was born.
And then you came to America when you were 13 years old.
When I was 13, yes.
And you came, of all places, they put you in East New York, Brooklyn, in the 80s. Yes. Why did your parents do that?
I always said that my father got sick of his family being safe. So he said, fuck it, you motherfuckers are living too blessed of a life in this fucking island frolicking on the beach every day. You need to know what real life is about. So he moved us to East New York, Brooklyn, which was at the time the epicenter of the crack epidemic in New York City and then the outlying areas. Because Brooklyn really ran the drug trade all over.
Right.
So yeah, it started in the East, like most of the big dudes came out of the East, and then everybody started realizing they could make a shit ton of money.
So 13 is pretty young, but
I just want to go to school.
Do you even remember do you remember the culture shock?
Oh, absolutely, bro. Yeah, my first day in New York, right? I was at the first place we stayed was on Flatbush Avenue and Sterling Street, and we came in at night. So when I landed in New York, this shit looked like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to me. It looked made up. It didn't look like a real place. Like where I'm from, that tree grew there, like naturally, like nobody like put it there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in New York City, like every tree, like they have tags. You know,
right?
Like trees have tags. Like this is how so that the parks people know this is how you treat that tree. It was weird to me. I thought like the train. Remember the little train from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
Yeah.
I thought that shit was going. And then I saw the subway. I was like, oh shit! It was freaky to me. My first night in New York City was like freaky, bro. It was so fake.
Right.
I've never been to a place that fake.
Because the Virgin Island is pretty small.
It's very small. So I mean, you'll build like a projects here or whatever. But most of the land is like untouched. It's like if that tree is there, it's just always been there. Like motherfucker didn't bust it in.
Yeah.
So that was weird to me, man.
How rough was the adjustment for you before you could?
Well, it wasn't rough. It wasn't rough because this was what I wanted. Like as a kid, I used to watch. We didn't have the internet, so my internet was the encyclopedia.
Nice.
And I used to always go to the end, New York City. That was my shit. I used to like read all these stuff about the Empire State Building and.
So it was a dream come true.
Yeah, coming to New York was a dream. I just didn't know that the dream was gonna get that dark. I mean, I was excited, and then we moved to the east. And
you thought you were moving to Central Park. You're like, oh no, this is a different kind of park. It's not central at all.
Yeah, then it turned into a nightmare. It didn't take long. It turned into a nightmare, man.
God damn.
Yeah.
All right, so
we became homeless.
You became homeless?
Yeah, we were homeless for a minute. Yeah, people like money in New York, man. And my father's friend was like, come to New York, because shit was getting rough in the VI, because my father's company had closed with Martin Marietta. They were like a huge conglomerate. They still have like, they're not done. They still have like places, but and one of the biggest spots that they had was in the Virgin Islands in St. Croix, and it employed half the island. So when they closed, half the island was unemployed, and my pops was way too educated to get like a truck driver. Like nobody was giving him that. My pops was a scientist basically. So he had a rough time, so they were like, come to New York, there's opportunities here, you know, pharmaceutical industries and all that shit. My pops finally said, fuck it, let's go.
Wow.
And then the reason they wanted us to come was they wanted help to pay their mortgage. So when we got here, we was like, nigga, we just moved. Like, fucking think we get all this money from?
How big was your family?
Well, when we came here, oh, that's crazy. I didn't think about that in a while. I came here first.
Okay.
My father brought me here and then left me with them to get my family to bring them up. So I was here for like a few months and then realized how shitty they were. So I was basically, I got that news. My father didn't know what they were doing. I found that out. And so that was like hell for me, dog. I was sitting,
Damn.
I used to sit in that house like, these motherfuckers don't even want me here. Like, what am I doing here, bro? And I don't know nothing. I don't know nowhere. I don't know how to get on the train.
Yeah, you're just
and
an
get
island boy,
nowhere.
lost
I'm
in
an island
Brooklyn.
boy. That was a dark time, yeah, man.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, so you got out of that and you're doing things. You're not doing comedy yet, but you led a union strike? Is
Oh
that
yeah.
something
I used to work at the Museum of Modern Art, and yeah, yeah, we whooped
How
their
did
ass,
you
too.
land into leading a union? I mean, now I just heard,
you
you're
see who I
you're
am.
kind of a politician. Yeah,
You
so
see
can
who I am, bro.
Some of it.
So what
How'd you
happened
lead a
was,
union strike?
we had a union. Our union was the UAW. It's called PASTA, but the governing union was the UAW. And in the year 1999, our contract was up, and they were trying to really disrespect us. And so my people that I worked with asked me, because they know, like, I was that dude, like, one time my boss asked me, he was like, hey, Mike, what do you think we should do with these books? I was like, well, I think we should set them up here. He was like, don't you think? I was like, no, that's not what I think. I just fucking told you what I think. If you want me to do something, tell me what the fuck to do, but don't ask me what I think, and then tell me what I should think. Yeah, it's some corny shit.
Yeah.
You know, he would come in and call me Mikey, and I'd be like, when do we start that? Like we never had a conversation about, I really had these conversations. He wished he could fire me, but I was too deep in the union. And I would always tell him like I had Al Sharpton on speed dial. But I didn't really. But I knew his wife. I used to work with his wife.
Right, I believe you.
But so we led a strike in 1999, and my people in my department, which was a bookstore, I worked in the MoMA bookstore, they asked me to be their representative on the union council. And I was like, all right. Because, you know, I like that shit.
Right.
I like telling fucking cocky rich people what to do with their stuff. And that was one of the best times of my life, bro. Oh, my God. That was so much fun.
Nice.
It was so much fun keeping people together. Because people, you know, when you're thinking about your livelihood and you got to pay rent and shit, but, you know, you just got to understand that you have value, man. And stop letting people tell you that you don't have fucking value. That was my message at every meeting. You matter. They wouldn't pay you. They wouldn't give you a fucking health care if you didn't matter. Stop letting them tell you don't fucking matter. And people was like, yeah, we matter. And then we would be out there, yo, I got truck drivers that tow their way. I'd be like, yo, bro, you really about to cross my freaking line, bro? And yo, I had truck drivers call their office like, yo, I'm not doing this, bro. I'm not doing this. There's a picket line here. I'm a union guy. I'm not doing it. And we finally fucking got these motherfuckers. And the most beautiful day was when that cocky ass lawyer for the museum, he was with what's the name of that? It's the New York Jets. That's their lawyers, Haverman and something.
No, I don't know.
It's like a really big fucking law firm, and they were repping, and I just heard him yell, "You can give them every fucking thing!" And the president of the museum was like, "Yeah, we fucking have to." We got every
And it's
fucking
all
thing.
because of Mike Yard,
And
everybody.
not just me. Everybody here. If people don't stick together, you don't get shit happen, and that's why I hate that we give away our power, man, to dumbass people.
It is weird how, I don't know, I think a part of me thinks it's a flaw in human nature that people want saviors.
It's laziness, man. We just don't want to take full control of our lives. It's scary to be
You know, like,
responsible for your
politicians
failures.
are supposed to go do it. Politicians are not supposed to fix your life.
But you
That's
can
not
blame
what they
them.
do.
That's the
Right.
thing. It's easy for people to blame other people for their shit. We don't
Yeah.
want to take control of our shit because, and when we fail, then it's us that's failing.
And that's worse when you realize you're the one.
You're the fucked up.
Yeah.
So it's easier to say it's everybody else. You know what I'm saying? It's the Mexicans or the fucking Muslims or whatever we want to be.
Right.
It's fucking weird to me, man. But whatever.
Yeah, that's why I feel like defund the police was one of those things that mostly white liberals were supporting.
Absolutely, bro.
Because they don't have to live in the places where there's crime.
They don't live
So
in
it's
my
very easy to
neighborhood,
say,
bro.
oh, I gotta,
Come on, man. I used to
let's
walk
do
home
that.
with my back to the building because I didn't know where motherfuckers was going to come from. And you know what? And my police precinct was corrupt. There's a documentary out about the 75th precinct. You can check it out on I think it's on Amazon now. It's called A 7-5. And you can see the corruption. And even living in that, I still think we need cops. Even living under a fucking corrupt police precinct, it's a dumb fucking thing to say.
Oh yeah, it really is.
There's sociopaths out there, people. I had a dude threaten to punch right through me. And the way he said it, I felt like he did it before. Like, there are some wicked fucking people out there, man. We need cops. We need a lot of defense.
How'd you end up in prison or jail? Which one was it?
Well, jail. I didn't go to. I did go to penitentiary, but my sentence wasn't for penitentiary. My sentence was for jail. But at that time, the jails were so crowded because of the crack epidemic that they were just putting people wherever they had a bed. So I ended up in state penitentiary when I only had county time. You know, I did a year. You know, I shouldn't be in the state, but I was in the state. And shit.
Yeah.
That's another message. We need jails. My first fucking day in jail, I was like, thank God we got jail. I was just looking around the dorm like, all of y'all was out on the streets. This is crazy. I'm surprised it's not more.
Sounds like you're about to be a union leader for jail.
Yeah.
Right. We need more jail.
We just gotta be sensible about the shit that we do, man. I mean, we don't need to have for-profit jails. That's a setup for fucking corruption. Like, that's dumb, bro.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Jails where you make money is dumb.
Yeah.
It's a dumb move.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But we're greedy in this country, you know. We don't really care about people.
It
We
should
think
be a
we
public
do, but we
service,
don't.
man. There are people that are better off the streets.
Yes.
Because they're not good for the world.
Yes.
That's just what it is.
Trust me, there are people in jail that need to be in jail. Stop fooling yourself. There are some unredeemable motherfuckers. They are just evil, man. There are some people that just like to hurt people. And I don't care how many days you talk to them and try to get in touch with the trauma.
Yeah.
They're gonna hurt people, man. They enjoy it. So we need jails.
Yeah.
Let's live in the real world, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like there's this ideology where people want to like, well, let's find out what happened in their childhood, then we can fix it. It's like sometimes you cannot fix people.
Listen, even when you
People
find
all
out
what
what
they
happened
are.
in that motherfucker's childhood, it just makes them angrier after that. Once they realize why they're mad, they're like, God damn it, I should be mad!
And here's the worst part. Sometimes you find nothing. They just come into the world evil.
Yes.
And that's even worse to like try to imagine like, oh, everybody loved you. Your parents loved you. Whoever you met was fine. And you still turned out an evil piece of shit.
Yeah, I met
How
a
do you
dude.
deal with that?
I met a dude in jail. This dude was from upper middle class neighborhood. And the day I met him, I was like, yo, why the fuck? He didn't look like a criminal. This was a short, little, stubby, white Jewish dude. This dude looked like an accountant. He looked like an accountant that fucked up numbers. When I found out what he was in jail for, this motherfucker had a shootout with the cops. Yes! Because he's just a sociopath. And he's like, yo, fuck the law, fuck the police, I'll murder every fucking guy. He used to scream at the COs all the time. He was a sicko. That dude shouldn't be on the streets. So let's fucking grow up.
Yeah. What's the worst type of behavior did you notice during your 1 year in there?
And you can't really do nothing about it because it's jail, so you can't really like try to be like a hero because then you end up choked up. But the bullying, man, you know how people are just so predatory, man. That's the shit.
And
it just,
jail is where like racism becomes the most prominent because everybody joins the race.
oh yeah,
And then they form
well,
a
not
gang.
in New York. In New York, well now, I mean, when I was in jail in New York State and in New York County, It wasn't like that. Like I would interact with white. It wasn't like that's some LA shit, that's some down south shit. You don't have like in New York, you don't have like the Aryan Nation and shit like that. You got the Latin Kings now and now the Bloods and the Crips, but thank God I ain't come across that shit. When I was in jail, it was just blocks. Like, where you from? Oh, I'm from Brownsville. I'm from
neighborhood.
It was
so
neighborhood.
It was based on that.
Okay. When I was locked up, yeah.
So you had to hang with the East New York
For the
guys.
Brooklyn dudes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or you would have Jamaicans hang together.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I don't know if you want to talk about this, but what got you in jail?
Oh, yeah, I don't have a problem talking about it. I robbed a drug dealer. I wanted to get money to move because my neighborhood was wild. And I got tired of being scared every time I got off the fucking train or went out my house. So I was like, we got to move. So in my mind at 17 years old, the quickest way to that, I was working at Key Food in the supermarket in the produce department, and that was not getting me the funds that was necessary.
Right.
And so me and my boy decided that, you know, these dudes make a lot of money when they hustle, so why don't we rob them?
Yeah.
And they can't call the cops.
Yeah.
Because they drug deal.
Right.
Imagine the drug deal, yo.
So it's a
motherfucker just
foolproof
stole all
plan.
my crack. Yeah. So we thought it was foolproof. But then they can snitch, and that's what happened.
Right. This is like from Omar shit. Have you guys seen The Wire?
Nah, I wasn't killing people. Omar was wild. I was just like, you know, sometimes you just gotta present that. I know how to present that. You know, where you think I would, but I wouldn't. I would never kill anybody. I couldn't do it. I'm not built like that, you know? I can live with that, bro. That took somebody's life, but I definitely would beat a motherfucker up.
Right.
I mean, you a drug dealer, and my pops was a crackhead, so I don't give a fuck about you. You probably sold crack to my pops anyway. Fuck you. Yeah, so that's what I did. We robbed a drug dealer, and he snitched on us, and then we got caught. And then, we got caught dead to rights. They caught us. They caught us.
Jail is
everything, bro.
Last year I was in California and I met this guy. He's a nurse and he works in a jail. And the shit, one of the things that stuck with me, it's kind of gross, but I'll tell you about it. So in the jails out there, sometimes people get a surgery where there's like a hole. I forget the name of it, but there's a bag they gotta put in.
Oh, colostomy bag.
Yes.
That's when you get like shot in the stomach.
Right.
And
They use that hole to fuck each other sometimes. Who? Yeah. I told you it was gross.
I don't know where the fuck that jail that is.
In California, he told me because it's men only. So if you have that hole, you can pay a guy to use his hole to get some pleasure out of it.
Nah, dude, that's...
The nurse told me that. He works in the jail.
That motherfucking lied to you. I ain't never seen no shit like that. Listen, it's just a misconception about jail, right? People think like rape is prep. You know how many gay dudes get arrested? Like, dudes just fuck. Like, there are dudes in there for prostitution and sin, so they'll fuck you.
Somebody tried to rape you. Didn't you just say that?
That was a power trip for him, though, because he thought that I was punking him, and he thought that was the way he was going to get at me, and he told me he was going to rape me over tuna fish. Here's the story. I was working in the kitchen, right? And I used to smuggle shit back and sell it to inmates for like contraband, like cigarettes or like, you know, treats and shit. You know, you'd be surprised what's really important in jail. Like fucking ring dings, like man.
Yeah, candy and cigarettes.
You
Those
get a
are
little
like top of the
fucking
food chain.
Twinkies. What?
Yeah.
You the man. People be like, yo, son, I heard you got Twinkies. So people will smuggle. I used to smuggle shit in the kitchen, and then they would trade with people. And this dude ordered tuna fish. People would put in order, but they didn't have tuna fish that day. So when I came back, I was handling my business, and he was like, yo, you know, let me get that tuna fish real quick. I was like, oh, my bad, they ain't had no tuna fish. They ain't had no tuna fish today. He's like, what the fuck you talking about? I was like, what the fuck you talking about? He got, like, real aggressive. Like, what the fuck you talking? How you mean they ain't no fucking tuna fish? I was like, nigga, this is jail. This is not a fucking Golden Corral. Like, you don't get to fucking just have what you want. Some days they have shit, some days they don't. He's like, nigga, you know who the fuck I am? I was like, yes, I know you. We've been living here for 6 months. He's like, I'm Big Bo, bitch. He still told me. He was like, I'm Big Bo, bitch. I will knock you the fuck out and slide up in you. That's how he threatened to rape me, like real slick.
Slide up in you?
First of all, I resented the fact that he thought my booty hole was that loose. But he would just slide. That hit had been done before.
Real
And
smooth.
that's really why I hit him. I beat the fuck out of that dude. That's the only time I thought I could really kill somebody. Yeah, I beat him.
Damn.
I beat him pretty bad.
Wow. So,
Yeah, that motherfucker said slide. You don't understand the chill that goes down your spine
right.
when somebody tells you that they're just gonna fuck you and you have no choice. I'm like, so it's just gonna be that simple. You're just gonna hit me, knock me out, and my ass is that loose that you're not gonna have to work to get in there.
Nah, you just go slide real quick.
Man,
Just
listen,
slide in there.
oh my God, I hit that motherfucker
Go into
with
the water
power.
park in that ass.
I hit
All right.
I hit that motherfucker with the power of every one of my ancestors. I went back to the beginning of time and hit that motherfucker. What? His big ass ain't know what happened. His eyes started watering. He's like, fuck out of here. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just went back.
That's all right. That's all right. So you do your year, you come out, and you're working somewhere, and
Well, not at first, because people don't hire convicts.
how long did it take you to get a job?
It took me to save somebody's life to get a job.
Really?
Yeah. This dude, and he used to date this girl in my building, and I didn't know him. I had no idea, but it was one of those days where I was looking for work, and I was just tight. Nobody was fucking with me. Oh, you got a record? Fuck out of here. And I was just mad that day. So all the knuckleheads in the neighborhood was getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
And then it was fucking with this kid that was just going to see his girlfriend in my building. So I didn't really care about the kid, to tell you the truth. I just wanted to fight. And I
You have to get some aggression.
Yeah, I had to
You
get
were
some
mad
shit
at all
off.
those people that
At
giving you
all of
jobs.
them, all of them. And,
Yeah.
and these dudes was bullies. They was always
Yeah.
bullying people. They was like a scourge in my building, and I didn't really say nothing. But that day I was like, nah, fuck that. Y'all not doing that today. So I intervened. And then when I intervened, they backed off because they knew. And then the dude was like, I seen him like a couple of days later, and he was like, yo, thank you for that, man. He was like, yo, I heard you say you was looking for a job. He's like, yeah, he said I could get you a job. And then he got me a job at the moment.
Oh, nice. So that was the job that led to the... Okay.
That's how I ended up getting my job at the moment. And then we became really good friends.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then, okay, how long did you do that job for?
10 years.
10 years. All right.
Yeah. I liked it. I loved it. Then it became corporate, and I was like, I'm out. Once I led that strike and that strike was over, I stayed for like 6 months just to make sure that there were not going to be any retaliation to the people, because you know these people are evil, man. They like to fuck with people's lives, and as long as I have any kind of power to do something about it, I am going to do it.
Right.
And so I stayed. I didn't want to be there. I was ready to quit because my comedy career was really getting rolling.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I can't leave these people to be dealt with these evil motherfuckers that I know. And they tried. I had so many meetings in fucking HR where I just was yelling at bosses like, you're a liar. Like, I don't know how else to call you a liar without calling you a liar.
Right.
But you're lying. They lie. They just lie. People just lie. It's
Yeah.
fucking crazy. Even if your livelihood is on the line, they just lie. So I stayed there, and once all that shit started dying down, then I just put in my resignation and I started doing comedy.
So your comedy journey has this weird character in it called the Toothless Lover. Who is that?
That's the guy that got me. How you know about it? I told you not to.
Listen, I do research for the show. You think I just show up here and talk? Who's the Toothless Lover?
Toothless Lover is the first comedian I ever met. I was running the store for the MoMA in Grand Central Station. I was the assistant manager. And he was a security guard. And we got to talking, and he was telling me he did stand-up comedy on the side, and I was tripping because I used to watch stand-up, and I was like, yo, how do you even do that shit? Like, that's crazy. I never thought I could be a stand-up. I just always thought it was an amazing art form.
Yeah.
And I used to help him with ideas. Like, he'd be like, yo, I'm working on this joke, and I'll be like, yo, you should say this. And he's like, yo, you should do this. Like, you know how to write.
So you were helping him write
I was helping
jokes.
him. And then what made me do it was I went up to the Uptown Comedy Club in Harlem, and he did the jokes that we worked on, and they killed. So I was like,
So
I was
your
a part of
material's
that.
getting laughed.
Yeah, I was like, I'm a part of that. So I was like, maybe I can do that shit. And then I wrote 5 minutes, and I went back up to the Uptown because they used to have this New Jack comic segment. where they would let new comics go on for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then the crowd would vote whether you get to come back or whether you should go home and work on your shit. It was really
it's like a gentler version of the Apollo.
Yeah, it was like
you up.
it was mocking, kind of like a mocking of the Apollo.
Yeah.
And I wrote like 5 minutes of material, and then I went up there and I put my name on the list, and then I left.
You got scared?
Yeah, I got so scared I left. I was like, I'm not doing this shit. What the fuck am I thinking about? And I left, and on the train ride home, I was so mad at myself. I was like, you pussy.
Yeah.
I was just hating on myself on the train ride home, so I was like, I'm going back next
It is
week.
a terrifying thing to do the first time.
Especially if it's not something that you even ever thought was a reality for
Right,
you. You know what I mean? I'm coming from the hood, bro. Like, nobody in my neighborhood is a fucking comic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, fuck, I went back up the next week, and I said, fuck, I put my name on the list, and one of the owners, Miss Brown, the owner's mom, Miss Brown, she was like, are you going to stay this time?
They remember you. The dessert.
That's a motherfucker. That's a punk motherfucker. I was like, nah, I'm going to stay this time. And I stayed, and I went on, and I killed, yo. I fucking killed. And I was like, yo, I left, and I got on the train, and I couldn't even make it home. I was so hyped, like the train, I couldn't contain. I
The
got
first
off
time you
at Bryant
kill is a
Park,
different
bro.
feeling. Yeah.
I got off at Bryant Park, and I just went in the park, and I was like, yeah! People were like, what the fuck is wrong with this? And I was like, I can't believe I just did that shit. This shit is crazy. And I knew I was hooked. That was my first crack hit, bro.
That's amazing.
That shit was like crack to me, man. That first hit, I was like, I gotta do this again.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
and then it just never been out of my life since that day.
Right. Once you find the thing you're supposed to do, you just like, all right,
You
this
can't
is
help
it.
yourself, bro.
Good. Yeah.
But you know, we're trained to fight ourselves. We're trained to fight that. You know, that shit that might take a little bit of risk. We're trained
Yeah,
to fight
it's fear. We want comfort.
yeah.
Whatever
absolutely.
puts you out of that comfort zone, you just fuck, that's a little bit much.
Yeah.
I might look stupid up there.
Just like
We're afraid to look
how am
stupid.
I gonna get a 401k out of this shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Health benefits. What if I get sick?
I mean, it's a weird job to do for a living. You know, it's a very American thing, and I'm grateful for America to have created this. Cause
But I know Haitian comics.
no, but I'm saying the origins of it.
Yeah.
It's very American in the spirit of it.
So there was nothing like stand-up comedy in Haiti in
No,
South America?
there was comedy, but not stand-up comedy. There was like, you'd have theater. People would dress up and do like little skits and
like
plays.
characters. That's a very
But having a
Caribbean thing.
one person on the stage with a microphone just talking to a crowd, that's
Yeah.
America.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I read a whole book about the history of stand-up comedy. Apparently, I don't know if that's true, but the writer credited Abe Lincoln as being unofficially America's first stand-up comedian because he had a real no. Here's why. He had a real shitty wife when he was president, and on his off days he would go to a bar. And then he would sit in a corner with a microphone and talk shit about his wife and get drunk.
Well, first of all, they didn't have microphones. They didn't have
He
microphones
would
in the
just
Civil War.
he would just talk shit about his wife during that time.
Yo, that's
That's
hilarious. You imagine the president just walking in like this bitch. I mean, how much more do I have to do to impress you?
I freed the slaves.
I freed a whole race of motherfuckers.
But that's the
hilarious.
unofficial statement. But then
That's
it
hilarious.
really it's big. Like your mom's Mableys, those people from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
early days.
So
So
Gregory's.
what was because it takes a while to find out what you like to talk about as a comedian on stage. Do you remember what was the first couple jokes you wrote? What was the first thing that hit?
But the first joke I ever wrote was a fart joke.
Farts are universally funny, and I hate people who don't think farts are funny. You're just acting like you're better than us. You're not. Farts are hilarious.
The first joke I ever turned on, a little
Side
trivia,
note? Yeah.
trivia.
Uh-huh.
The first person that ever brought me on stage was Tracy Morgan.
That's amazing. Hell
The
yeah.
first person that ever introduced me as a stand-up comic, and I went on to do a joke about moving in with my girl and how I didn't know she farted until I started living with her. Yeah.
I mean, that's a hit right there,
That shit kills. And I ended with a
I don't know
joke.
why women do that, but it's very.
Why do they hide it?
I have a friend they've been together for 2 years and she still hasn't farted in front
I
of
don't
me.
trust that one.
Yeah.
You better fart, because I'm not fucking with you. How could you hold a fart that long? 2 years? Are you fucking kidding me?
Let's just hold it when you're not around.
No,
Do
but-
it. It's so stupid to me.
No, see, I know, I get that. Like, you're not always around them, but in those 2 years, you're spending a lot of time
Yes,
together
yes.
getting to know each other.
A lot of time.
And all that time, we probably did activities together where you had to run and nothing.
I mean,
You
look,
know what I'm saying? Ziploc, nothing. You don't fart on a Ziploc, nothing.
I fought on first dish, just so the girl knows. Like, all right, that's what this gonna be.
That's one of my jokes. I say, y'all fart in the car on the way home. And then close the window and let her smell it. So she knows who I am. I want you to know who the fuck I am. Take it. That was my first joke. I did a fart joke, bro. I was so proud I did. I didn't do it too long.
fart joke
Then
is a
I
good
started
one.
getting around good comics and I was like, what the fuck am I talking about?
I mean, you still can talk about fart, but you don't want your whole identity to become
Yeah,
farts.
yeah.
Right. You can, I like a good
I
fart
haven't done
joke
that
here
joke
and
in a
there.
long time.
Yeah, you should bring it back. Farts and diarrhea are just universal funny, but you know, people act like they're better than them. You're not. We all farts and have diarrhea.
You know, we always like to act like everything is so foreign to us. Cut it.
Right, right.
You're a human being. If you're not foreign, then you're not from here. Okay? I need to know where your spaceship is. Because human beings fart.
Right.
I just farted.
All right, I'm out. This is crazy. All right, so you're doing your thing and it's working. When did you get here? What year did you get to the Comedy Cellar? The world famous
I got to
Comedy
the Comedy
Cellar.
Cellar, interestingly enough. And I think I started working here in 2011.
Okay.
And I got in here like on a humble. Will Sylvans had like a show that he booked me to do here, and it was like on a Thursday or something. And the club booker happened to be here, Esty, who I had met several times.
Well, you didn't know that she was.
I didn't know she was gonna be there that night.
Got it.
Because she's never here on a Thursday.
Yeah.
She's only here on the weekend.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even thinking about it. I just came and did the show and had a really good set. And then she came up to me and was like, "Can I talk to you? Can I have you come back on Friday on our night and do a set?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Requested. Your
Yeah, she
audition.
requested
That's
me.
amazing.
And then I came down. And then she was like, "Where have you been?" I was like, "Bitch, I've met you 72 times. What the fuck are you talking about?" But they don't pay attention to comics. I was doing black rooms. I wasn't even really trying to get into mainstream at the time.
Yeah, there's
Because
this
you
weird
make more money in
segregation
black
that
rooms.
happens.
Do you know that
Comedy.
though?
Yes.
The pay days in black rooms, like if I do a black club, I'll get like 3 times what I'm making to do this room on a Tuesday night. So that's why when you're doing those rooms, you don't rush to do these mainstream rooms because
Right.
you're getting like $35. You're like, come on, man, I got bills and shit.
You do make more money, but it can become stagnant
It
sometimes.
is. There's
Yeah.
no growth there. So
Yeah.
I was doing that and I was doing well, but then it started getting to the point where it was like people were just getting disrespectful, and I'm me. I'm not going. You're not
Right.
going to just disrespect me. Like
Right.
I like me a lot.
Yeah.
Like I do. I don't allow people to be racist to me. I don't do that. I don't do that. Like you can be racist all you want, but when you see me, just go next. Next dude.
Not this one.
Yeah,
Next
do it
one.
to the next dude. Because I'm not gonna tolerate it.
Yeah.
I don't do it. So.
I don't know if you want to talk about this, but I kind of do, so I'll let you decide. I hate the word trauma now because it's overused. It's almost meaningless because people will be like, he didn't text me for 72 hours and I was traumatized, and I find that stupid. But there's real trauma that happens in life, and you had something traumatic happen to you.
Oh yeah, my wife passed away. That's
Right.
Coincidentally, that was like kind of like one of the reasons why I actually did the audition here, because she's always used to try to get me in here. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's because she was like a television producer. She was in the business, and then so this was like became a goal for me after after she.
How did she die?
She had a knee surgery and then she got a blood clot. Yeah, and just like that. Life is. That's why you gotta stop letting motherfuckers keep you stuck on stupid and live your life, man.
Yeah.
Because you never know. She had a knee surgery. Everything was fine. I spoke to her that night. She was like, I'm excited, I'm gonna get back in the gym, get my body back right, because her knees was fucked. She used to play college basketball, so her knees was fucked up for a while. So she was like, I feel like so free, and then the next day, fucking blood clot, and you get a phone call, and it's like, that was insane, bro. That was one of the craziest times in my life. But thank God for therapy.
Yeah.
I thank God for therapy, bro. I'm gonna tell you. Because up until then, I was like, fuck a therapist. But then when something like that happens, that's when you realize that you are not qualified to deal with everything that's going to come at you in this world.
Yeah, you need a professional.
And that was a wake-up call for me because I was losing my mind. I was like, like, I got to talk to somebody. Yeah. I did group therapy. That worked for me. Because it was cool
like
being around people
who were also
going through
struggling with the same thing. Yeah.
And something that, and it was all tragic. Like everybody in that group was like, you know, this woman went to take care of her mother in Boston and her husband died in the apartment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just had a heart attack and died. And so we're all dealing with this instant trauma. And that's, to me, that was the best place to be in order for me to cut. Because I was never going to do stand-up again. I was like, fuck laughing, fuck people, fuck them, everybody, fuck the world. I had a comedy club owner, Mark Blunt. He owned the Governor's Comedy Club. And he used to call me every other day. We don't talk now because he's like a diehard, like, I don't know what's wrong with him. I found out he's racist, and I'm like, but how did you do that for me? But anyway. But he would call me every day, and he'd be like, yo, Mike, please don't quit, please. Maybe it's because he knew I packed his club every time I was there. But he would call me every day, and I was like, I'm not doing stand-up. And that's what really, you know, kind of motivated me to start thinking about life after this, you know, like somebody constantly thinking like, you know, dude, don't just, because you know, he's like, yo, I've seen people go through this and then they just quit and you're too good, you shouldn't quit, don't quit. And he just kept, that's the only reason I'm doing comedy is because of him. He kept calling me and telling me, yo, don't quit. And then he booked me that weekend and he booked another headliner just in case I couldn't do it. Like he was really in my team, and then when I found out who, I was like,
that's super
cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't hate him.
No, I mean,
but he's not in my life anymore.
Right, but he helped you. In that moment, he was there to help you.
Absolutely, he was there. And it didn't seem like he had motivation. It seemed like he really gave a fuck.
Right.
You know?
So would you, how much credit would you give him with sort of helping you get back on stage? Or was there some sort of breakthrough that you found that made you feel like, I can get back to doing the thing I love, even though I...
No, once I finished my therapy, once we went through that therapy session, I felt like all the things that was fucking with me, like you don't understand when you lose a spouse, there's shit that like, that you don't even think will make you fucking break down. Like I went in the fucking freezer and saw frozen peas and started breaking down. Because she bought those peas because she wanted us to start eating healthy. And I was like, we're never gonna eat those peas. And you know, I'm not qualified to deal with that, man. I mean, I got 2 years of college. I don't know how to deal with that kind of fucked up shit.
This is Karen's big city, you know? It's like a Sopranos scene.
It really, man. So, you know, when I finished my therapy, the therapy really helped. And the fact that he was constantly pushing me, I was like, maybe I could see if I could do it. Because she was like my biggest fan, too. So I was like, fuck. You know, how am I even going to put everything into this like I used to? But I did. I ended up having a great set, and it was like, you know,
sometimes all you need is one good set to be like, oh, I'm back on it.
That day I knew this is what I was supposed to do because I got back on that stage, and the minute I started talking, it was like I never left.
Right. Did you also feel like maybe she would want me to keep doing what I
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. She would have hated me if I quit.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This woman offered to subsidize me when I was making money doing comedy. She was like, nah, don't get no job. You do this.
That's amazing.
I'll take care of everything. I'm like, nah, because if you do that, I'm not doing it. So I need to, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it. And
I need to struggle and force myself to make money. Earn it.
And she was like, listen, but if you need, you know, she made a shitload of money.
Yeah.
She was a producer on Ricky Lake, so she made a shitload of money.
That's amazing.
I could have easily just said, take care of that rent. But I really wanted to.
But you're not that person. You gotta know who you are, right?
I don't know like that. No.
There are dudes who would do that, and
I know guys that are doing it.
That's just
those motherfuckers that are doing it right now.
How do you look at yourself in the mirror?
Yeah, I ask them all the time, like, how you doing, homie? Like, I don't get it, bro. Man, fuck these bitches.
My girlfriend right
invisible
now,
at the end of this shit, bro. You're not gonna be a happy person.
My girlfriend right now, she has a real job and she makes good money, and her plan this year is to go to Bali for New Year's Eve.
Oh man, that's
and it's like it's a $5,000 type of trip, and I was like, I'm not gonna go because I don't want you to pay for this, and I can't afford it at the moment. And I told her I'm not gonna go, so she's gonna go with her friends, and I'm just gonna be. She was like, but I wanna pay for it. I'm like, I don't want you to pay for me to go for 2 weeks in the Middle East, and then now I'm losing out on comedy work, and I'm just there on a vacation thinking about how much money I spent to be on that fucking vacation.
Yeah.
It would kill me, so I was like, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, I just can't. Yeah, I need to be able to take care of my shit, because if somebody else is taking care of you, when they're gone, what you gonna do?
I mean, I think once in a while it's okay, but if it's something that has to do with your livelihood, if it's not necessary.
Well, I wanted to be able to pay my rent doing stand-up, so I would never allow her to pay my rent.
That's a huge milestone. The first time you pay your rent doing stand-up?
Oh my God, it's such a good feeling.
When was it for you?
Boom. It was the first week of January 2000.
That's fucking dope.
That's when I quit comedy and I had some gigs lined up and I had no more work money. All that was done. No more checks coming in. And I fucking paid my rent with my stand-up money. And I was like, yeah, I'm a pro.
Yeah.
I'm a professional stand-up comedian.
Hell yeah.
And it took me a long time to feel like a professional stand-up comic. I always used to say I do comedy.
Right. Were you uncomfortable with saying that you were a comedian because of the money part?
Yes, because I knew that if I'm not taking care of myself doing what I'm doing, how can I call myself a pro? I'm really, it's just a hobby.
Right. You gotta make a living at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
That's fair.
So, yeah, that's the first time I got to say that.
All right. Let's talk about the nightly show for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great time.
Yeah, Mike was a correspondent on the nightly show with Larry Wilmore on Comedy Central. Anybody seen that? It lasted what, 3 seasons, 2 or 3?
3 seasons.
Yeah, it was the follow up to Trevor Noah.
To the Daily Show. They had because the nightly show, the Daily Show started at 11, and the nightly show was like to close out the hour. It was a show pitched by Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
And he wanted a minority show on Comedy Central because they didn't have minority show. And he picked Larry Wilmore, who was his senior black correspondent.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, and who was a prolific writer. Like, this dude created the Bernie Mac show. Blackish is his show.
He's a producer on Insecure as well.
Insecure is his show. He helped create that show. So this he wrote on The Office. Like, this dude was no slouch. Like, he did a lot of shit. So they gave him the show. And
how'd you get the gig?
Well, Rory Albanese, who was actually the Jon Stewart's executive producer of The Daily Show, and also a stand-up comic. 10 years he ran The Daily Show. I never knew who he was. He was a comic, and he came up to me at the table at the Comedy Cellar, and he was like, yo, I think you're really funny. He introduced himself. And you know how people always try to tell you they got shit going on, but then nothing materializes? So he was like, yo, I'm working on this new show. I think you'd be really good for it. I was like, yeah, okay.
You just didn't trust him?
You always have people come up to you, tell you what they're working on, and then you wait for phone calls, and it never happens. So I'm like, whatever.
You don't want to get excited over that.
Yeah, I never get excited over shit that's not in hand, right? So then I seen him like a week later, and he was like, yo, I want you to come down to the ABC building and audition for this show. I was like, oh, okay. So I went down there, and when I got in there, Larry Wilmore was in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I know this dude, so this shit is for real, for real.
This is not a hoax.
This is not some bullshit. But, I've been in the game so long that you just do shit. You don't think about, at this point, when I go to an audition, I just do it. Like, I don't stress myself with whether I'm going to get it or not. I just go in and do what I do. And then if you pick me, you pick me. If you don't, you don't. Yeah. So I went into the audition, and we were sitting reading stuff with Larry. And then we started talking. This is why I know I got the show. We started talking about Bill Cosby. And he was like, how evil what Bill Cosby did. And I was like, I don't know if it was evil. I think he has a problem. Like, if it's that many women, then he has a problem in my mind. Like, it's something that he probably can't even control, like, consciously. And he was like, no, it's evil. And I was like, well, maybe I don't know what evil is. I said, maybe I don't know what evil means. And then I pulled out my phone in the middle of the audition, like I would if I was at my family's crib. And I was like, well, I'm going to Google evil and see what the fuck. And I Googled evil, and while I was Googling, I was like, oh, my bad. I was like, nah, it's an audition, I'm wilding. And he was like, nah, go ahead, Google evil. And I Googled evil, and then when I saw it, I was like, all right, he's evil. And then we read some shit together, and our chemistry was just like cool, you know. And then they called me like about a month later, and he was like, I would like to know if you would like to, you know, join our cast as a cast member of the nightly show. And I was like, man, you wild. I was like,
You just don't believe anybody.
Why would you even ask me that? What you need to do is call me and go, you're in. Like, I'm gonna say no. I would like to know if it's okay if I cast you. Shut the fuck up. Of course I'm coming, dog. And that was one of the, I love doing the nightly show, man. I got to be mean. That's the only thing. That's the best thing you can ask for on TV,
comedian. For a stand-up comedian, specifically.
And he was very straightforward about that. He was like, Mike, I need your voice. I don't give a fuck. Don't try to be nobody else. Don't try to play to anybody. Say shit the way you say shit.
Yeah.
And I got to be on TV just being me, so I'll forever be thankful to that, brother.
No, that's
Hell yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, it seems like fun. I used to watch it all the time because I came here in 2008, you know, and the Daily Show. Jon Stewart basically taught me how to speak English.
Really?
Yeah, we don't speak English in Haiti. You take a couple classes in high school, but that's not our language. We speak Haitian Creole and French, which women find sexy, but really it's useless because you can communicate to any other island around you.
Yeah,
it's just, you know, all the islands speak Spanish or English.
All the other islands are
And
like,
we're
what?
fucked. Yeah. And that's part of why Haitians struggled in the 90s coming to America, because everybody can speak it and you're like, you have this weird accent that everybody makes fun of you for it.
It's funny how when I got here, how Haitians were treated. By black people too. It was very weird because I was like, do you know these people? Have you taken a moment just to learn about these people are gangsters? Like Haiti is the first black country to kick out slave masters.
Yeah.
Like
that's all.
I mean the slave masters fucked them up after that. But but they were the first
we're
one.
still fucked up right now. It's pretty crazy.
But you know,
we did
you're gonna come out on top at some point.
We did do that.
Yeah. So I mean, I always respected that about that history.
Yeah, it makes me sad thinking about it to this day. Like what's happening right now in Haiti, it's so the president got murdered in July last year.
Yeah.
And then it's just been going. And it was one of those things where it's like no one else got killed.
Mm-hmm.
They went to his compound where he had security guards.
Yeah.
There was no struggle. They went in and murdered.
Just
So you
killed
know it's an inside job for sure. But they arrested no one, and it's just like, well, the president's gone now. So what are you gonna do with your country?
Haiti is I've been there a couple of times. I've done some.
You did shows in Haiti. That's right.
Yeah, I've done a couple of fundraisers. We raised, you know, Kako.
Yeah.
Kako,
Caco's my guy. Kako Boujoli.
Boujoli.
Yeah.
He's a Haitian comic. And he does a lot
dude.
of stuff for young kids in Haiti, man. Like he sponsors, like he's got a little bit of money, and all his money goes to them kids.
Yeah, he's great.
The dude is special, man. And he asked me to come do a show to raise some money for an orphanage, and I went, and man, that shit was rough. That shit was rough. That shit was rough to look at, man. Cause like
and that was what 2000 something.
Yeah, this was like late to like 2000. Maybe 9, 10.
Yeah.
Around that time. When did your president get killed?
Last year.
Oh yeah, so that's
when
this was who was president? It was the entertainer guy was president.
Sweet Mickey.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
He was and the people I was
we
working with.
We had a Trump before you guys had Trump.
We had
a guy.
Was he a Trump?
Yeah, well, yeah, he was a musician. He used to like cross dress, and he's very charismatic. But he was a shit talker.
Oh,
just like Trump.
Shit.
And then he became president out of nowhere. We're like, all right. And then America followed us a couple years later. All right. Good for you guys.
We like shit talkers.
Yeah.
Look at what they do in Haiti. We gotta replicate that.
it was weird, man. But yeah.
I loved it. I mean, listen, it was. I've been there twice. Crazy story. The second time I went, I did the show, and then the promoter was taking me back to the hotel. This is how crazy Haiti is. And there was a guy in the car that wasn't there when we got to the show. And he was just sitting back there, like, not even talking. I was like, who the fuck is this dude? Like, I'm from the East, so I'm suspicious. And I'm like, motherfucker sitting behind me. If he wasn't there earlier, why the fuck are you here now? I got money in my pocket now, I just got paid. And so we get to the hotel, and he jumps out the hotel and pulls out a gun.
Yeah.
Pulls out a pistol. And I'm like, I'm looking at the promoter like, you just paid me, you robbing? What the fuck is going on? But you dropped me off at my hotel? This is a weird robbery. And he held the gun up, and then I heard a motorcycle coming around the corner, and there was like 4 motorcycles and dudes on motorcycles, and he aimed the gun at them, and they were like, all right. And then they backed up.
Yeah, a lot of motorcycle robberies.
They'll rob people at the hotels. That's what they do. They wait for you to come back at night, and then they'll rob you. So they knew that was going to happen. So they actually were protecting me, which is, you could have told me that. You had me going through all types of shit. Am I dying in Haiti? This is where it's going to happen.
The thing is, people, they can smell America on somebody.
Yeah.
Like by your face, the way you look, you're like, oh, you're not from here, so you probably have some sort of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
they were waiting. They were just waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, I got a couple quick ones, and then I'll let you go. We've had a good time, right? We'll let you go. All right. You're a big weed guy. All right. Here's a dilemma for you. 6 months without weed, or 6 months without sex. What do you pick?
6 months without sex.
Wow, you didn't even have to think about it, huh?
Dude, I went to jail for a year. Been there, done
Just
that.
jerking off. You didn't even jerk off?
If you would have said 6 months without jerking off, then that would have been a different question. But sex, I already did that, bro. Yeah, so weed is so much of a better time.
At this point in your life, you enjoy smoking more than fucking, for
Sometimes, man. Listen, I'm not trying to say I don't enjoy sex, but I mean, if given a choice. This is my shit. Weed, naps, sex.
That's an adult man right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I feel you on that one. Okay. You have to sacrifice a family member to bring back your favorite artist from the dead. Who's the family member? Who's the artist?
The artist is Richard Pryor, and my family member is my oldest brother. I don't even got to switch about that one.
What did he do to you?
All types of shit. He stabbed me in the fucking hand, little motherfucker. It stole my chain, but my oldest brother was a dick. He was such a dick. Yo, this motherfucker, he used to fucking hustle. He used to rob too. Not with me. I would never do shit with him. He was also a psychopath, so he was crazy. So yeah, I would. If I could switch him and Richard, absolutely. Richard Pryor's the best that ever did it, man.
Yes. Richard Pryor's best. Sometimes I get annoyed when I talk to young comics and they're like, I don't get Richard Pryor. I'm like, well, you're not fucking studying what you're supposed
they don't
to
understand.
study.
They don't understand the craft that they're trying to participate in. The dude changed the game, man. He
really
gave people permission to be real. People were talking about corny shit on stage. They were slapstick and doing.
Before Richard Pryor was just
nothing
jokes,
personal. It was
jokes.
just jokes. It was just nothing like really deep and no pain, no reality. Richard Pryor took pain, man.
What's your favorite Richard Pryor special?
Sunset Strip.
Huh?
When he came back.
That's not my favorite.
Saying niggas.
Mine was Live in Concert, 1979, with the red shirt.
Yeah, that was a
But
good
somebody
one.
else
Live
on
on the
that?
Sunset Strip to me was like such growth for him. Like
It was, but it wasn't comedic perfection the way Live in Concert was.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't because he had already mastered it. So he was just being real on Sunset. He was just. I think he was trying to be a cautionary tale. I don't know what he was trying to do, but it just resonated with me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, after they burned themselves trying to kill themselves.
Man, imagine that, bro.
Yeah, that's.
Imagine being. I can't even imagine being in that room going through that, bro. Like where you're like,
So the story about that special is he bombed the first taping.
Yeah, he bombed.
They had to do it a couple times.
Yeah. Because he had just got back. He had just
Right,
got
so
back
he wasn't
to stand-up.
in shape yet. As an athlete, when you're trying to get back in shape,
You didn't have the
he
rest
just wasn't there yet. Do you guys know who Richard Pryor is? I feel like there's a lot of foreigners who might not know. I mean,
You don't know
as
who
a-
Richard Pryor is?
Oh,
Wow, you should Google him. He is the best stand-up
Where you guys
comedian
from?
ever.
We're from Toronto.
You Canadians? Oh, you should know. That's on you. Fuck that.
There's no
If you were
reason
from
you should know
Serbia,
Richard
I'd be like,
Pryor.
yeah, you're not supposed to know. You had shit going on in Serbia.
Are you sure? I think you set that shit up.
I did not.
This is one of the most pre-programmed jokes.
I promise.
He just have Serbians sitting on to the side.
I had no
It's
idea.
like
I
that
promise.
Serbian quip.
It just, Serbians went through a lot of shit.
You
They
should probably let that
shouldn't
Richard
know.
Pryor man. Game changer. Game changer. He changed the game. And most
He really
comics will
did.
tell you that's their favorite comic. Like
Yeah.
even comics that were his contemporaries would tell you that they were in awe of Richard Pryor. He was so good at this shit, man.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
Yeah, nobody did it better.
Game
Yeah.
changer.
All right, final one. What would Mike Yard like his tombstone to say?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Maybe just that. I don't know, man.
Yeah, what would you want your legacy on this planet to be?
You know, I think I've already because my thing was I always wanted comics to respect what I did.
Yeah.
And I think I got that.
Right. So
I
you
think I've had
got what you
enough
wanted.
comics tell me how much they respect what I do
Yeah.
and how much they like watching me perform over the years. So I think that's pretty much it.
Respect from your peers.
Yeah, just respect for my peers, man. Because that's why I got into comedy to do comedy.
Yeah.
And you can't do this and not want approval from your
Right,
contemporaries,
right,
because
right.
you watch geniuses
It's-
and
it's
you're like,
a-
I just want
it's the
them to
best
think
type
I'm a
of
genius too.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a lot of that from a
Because
lot
you did tell me one time that you found that Eddie Murphy knows who you are.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy. I did a show and Eddie Murphy, but that didn't really trip me out. What tripped me out when Quentin Tarantino knew who I was.
He's a big comedy
That
fan.
fucked me
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
And he was like, Mike Yard! Like, he was excited. I was like, stop fucking playing with me. That was my exact response. I was like, yo, stop playing with me, Quentin Tarantino. I can't even call him Quentin. I was like, Quentin Tarantino, stop it. Stop acting like you know me, dog. You don't know Mike Yard. Get the fuck out of here, Quentin Tarantino. And he was like, I fucking love you. I was like, stop fucking playing with me, Quentin Tarantino. I was almost ready to fight him for fucking with me. Yeah, so I mean, I think, I'm gonna keep doing this shit because I love it, and I'm gonna keep getting better at it. And I'm gonna keep. There's like a certain level of realness that I want to achieve, and I don't feel like I've achieved that yet. So.
The beauty of it is that it's not finite. There's
No.
always ways you can grow and be better at what you do. And
Absolutely.
that's sort of what art is supposed to be, and it's cool as shit. That
Bobby
way.
Dangerfield didn't become great until he was like 50-something years old.
Yeah, yeah. So it's nice
know?
to be able to there's always another step to climb.
And that's what I love about this shit.
All right. So it'll say Mike Yard, he was respected by his peers.
No, I just wanted to say Mike Yard, he was a funny motherfucker.
There you go. That is Mike Yard. The funny
He
motherfucker.
was a funny motherfucker. Thank you for having me, brother.
All right. Thank you guys for being here and spending your Wednesday with us. I hope you enjoyed this show. Tip your staff and have a good time. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Good night.